Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Warren Buffett has been writing letters to his shareholders since 60 years now. I know most people have never read or heard about these letters, but people who practice value investing, who has been investing in stocks since many years now, they have heard about these letters. And some ardent fans of Warren Buffett have also read these letters. The wisdom inside these newsletters are so huge and so immense that I think no other book can ever cover this kind of knowledge. And what makes this letter so great and valuable is the practicality with which it has been written by Buffett. In this video, I will talk about my top 5 learnings from these letters. So let's start the video. My first lesson is related to retained earnings of the company. When good companies make profits, they do not distribute all of their profits to their shareholders in the form of dividends. What they do is they retain a major part of their profits and then use this money to make the company grow. How the company will grow? The company will grow by expanding and modernizing their facilities. And when the company expands and modernizes, it produces even more profits. And this way, the company is able to reinvest even more. So you can understand the cycle. The higher profits the company is making, the more it can retain and the more it can reinvest and the more profits it will make. Warren Buffett calls such type of companies as commercial cows. Companies like that, like a dairy cow, keep producing milk profits year after year, decade after decade. The interesting trivia here is Berkshire Hathaway is the company of Warren Buffett. In the last 10 years alone, Berkshire Hathaway has reinvested about $121 billion back into their own businesses. I'm not talking about companies like Coca-Cola or Gillette or Apple. I'm talking about Warren Buffett investing $121 billion back into companies wholly owned by Berkshire Hathaway. These are Berkshire Hathaway's own companies. So what we small investors can learn from this? For us, our goal should be to identify that one company in the stock market which we can call as our commercial cow. This is that company which is not only making profits, but they are also reinvesting that profit to make their profits grow year after year, decade after decade. This is the kind of company we want to invest in. My next lesson is what Warren Buffett calls as the moat. In old days, big castles used to surround themselves with huge trenches filled with water, which was called as a moat. The castles used to build moat around itself to prevent itself from enemies. In business, a moat is anything which protects a business from its competitors. And why a business needs a moat? Why a business needs protection? Because as soon as any business, any company starts to make money, competitors will start to copy their business model. They will start to copy their products. They will start to encroach upon their workforce. So in order to survive, a company must build some kind of moat for themselves just for survival. And those companies which have built a substantial moat for itself, these are the companies that make huge amount of money for themselves and also for their shareholders. To explain to you this concept of moat, let me give you an example. When I use the name called Fevicol, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? This is a huge brand name. When you call a carpenter in your house to build a furniture set for you, apart from seeing the quality of wood that they are using, you will also see whether they are using Fevicol as their adhesive or not, right? Even when you have to repair a furniture set by yourself in your home, you will go to a shop. You will not say that give me an adhesive. You will say give me Fevicol. This one word has become so deeply embedded in our minds that no competitors, no matter how cheap their product is, they will not be able to shake the position of Pidilite Industries. Pidilite Industries is the company that makes Fevicol, by the way. This is what is called as a moat. This is a simple product, but with such a powerful brand trust that people simply do not look for alternatives. This is an example of building a moat through brand loyalty. For we small retail investors, our goal is to identify such companies which has built a huge economic moat for itself. Companies like Pidilite Industries, Britannia, Nestle, Asian Paints, HDFC Bank, according to me, they have built a wide moat for themselves. But there is a problem with these stocks. They mostly trade at overvalued price levels. So this is a caution we have to remember while investing in a wide moat companies. My next favorite lesson from Warren Buffett's letter is something that is my personal favorite, and I think you will also like it. Buffett describes his investment style as something as long deep sleep. He says that the best investment strategy in stock investing is to do nothing. I think what he's trying to say is the story of a protagonist that I read as a child. He was Rip Van Winkle, who fell asleep and woke up decades later. And while he slept, his investment grew from nothing to an astronomical size. I think this is what Warren Buffett wants to say. He says that when you get an opportunity to buy a company with a wide economic moat and you get to buy such a company at a discount price, the next best thing you can do with that investment is to do nothing. Just keep it in your demat account and let it stay there for years together. Let me give you an example of building wealth by doing nothing. Suppose you are an investor who bought 100 shares of Infosys back in 1999 at rupees 12 each. So you invested about 1200 rupees in Infosys. Now let's assume that after buying these shares, somehow you kept those shares certificates somewhere and you just forgot about it. Now, after 27 years, you remember that you bought few shares of Infosys. And today you woke up and you found that those 100 shares, after adjusting for bonus issues and stock splits, those 100 shares have now become 25,600 number shares. And each share of Infosys is now priced at rupees 1200 each. Do you know what is the value of those shares as of today? Now it will be 3.07 crores. And how you made so much money? By doing nothing. You just bought those shares in 1999 and after that you simply forgot about it. And today you have 3.07 crores in your demat account. You did no buying, no selling, you just held on to your shares and made a huge amount of money. The lesson is, first of all, you buy a company with a wide moat and you buy them at a reasonable price. And then you do not get disturbed by the news flows of the market. Buy a good company and hold it for a tremendously long time, and you will be surprised how much wealth you can make during this time. People who actually got rich from Infosys were not the ones who traded their shares regularly, but they are the ones who simply did nothing after they purchased their shares. My next lesson from Warren Buffett's letter is something that Buffett calls as the circle of competence. And this is something which I think is a very logical thing to do when it comes to stock investing. But somehow, most retail investors ignore this part of equity investing. The idea behind this is very simple. We do not need to understand every company, every sector, every new trend that comes our way. What we really need to understand is those businesses in which we are either trying to invest in or those stocks which are already there in our portfolio. These are the stocks that we want to hold for the next 10, 15, 20 years together. So we need to build an understanding about these companies, not everything else what's happening in the market. For example, suppose your comfort zone is banking, FMCG stocks, pharma stocks, retail stocks. If your comfort zone is this, then this is your circle of competence. You do not need to understand about crypto, about derivatives, about all new IPOs that are coming in the market, or those complex stocks that keep making losses and still people invest a lot of money in them. Here in India, we feel a lot of pressure to have opinions on everything. When friends mention a stock at a family dinner, we feel that we should also know about it. If someone's colleague is making a money in some new fund, we feel that we are missing out. This FOMO is very dangerous. Warren Buffett himself admits that he has no idea what many companies will look like in 10 years from now. He is Warren Buffett, and he says he doesn't know about majority companies in the market. So it is perfectly fine for us to say that I do not understand this. I will not invest in it because I don't know about it. And when we say that we have to understand only a few companies, what I'm trying to say is we must have sufficient knowledge about a few handful of companies that we know about. And that knowledge should be deep enough to help us estimate if this company is earning, say, X profits today. Can that profit become 2x in next 3 years? Or can it become 3x in next 5 years? Though it may sound simple, but to have this kind of prediction ability, to have this kind of feeling about a company, we must read a lot about them on daily basis. And when we are reading so much about a company, that is when we are actually building our circle of competence. The wider will be the circle of competence, the better will be our investment decisions. At that stage, we will not have that urge to buy that next IPO and hope that it becomes a multi-bagger. We will no longer be dependent on that new IPO to make money. We will have our own circle of competence, and we will know that how much money we are going to make in next 5, 10, 15 years. The final learning is perhaps the most important one. Buffett talks about what he calls as an American tailwind. A tailwind is like flying an aeroplane when the wind blows in the same direction as the aircraft. It pushes you forward without any extra effort. Buffett's argument is that America as an economy has been a tailwind for investors for over 200 years. The country has been through wars, through recessions, through political crises, through pandemics. But the economy of America kept growing year after year no matter what. America has seen several world wars, oil crisis and whatnot. Even their presidents have been assassinated in the past. But still, America grew at an outstanding pace. And through all of that, there were always some people predicting doom and gloom for the country. But the economy kept growing. Now Buffett is talking about America, but I want you to think about India in place of America. We in India are in a very similar position right now. We have a young population. We have a growing middle class whose per capita income is slowly increasing. We have an increasing digital access. Our economy is still expanding. The Indian tailwind is just beginning. America has seen it for last 200 years, but our tailwind is just beginning. And do you know what is the benefit of having an America-like tailwind? We investors can afford to be just about right and still make a huge amount of money. I'm talking about equity investors. The only care we must take is not to make a blunder. In such a situation, what minimum investors can do, even if we do not know how to pick our next Infosys, even if we do not know anything about stock analysis, we can just pick a small piece of India's quality businesses either directly or through a good low-cost index fund and hold on to our purchase for a very long time. The balance work will be done by the India's own growth story, which is becoming stronger and stronger with every passing year. So let's try to recap the lesson we have learned in this video. Lesson number 1. Invest in a company, those commercial cars I'm talking about, that let its retained earnings do its job. Lesson number 2. Invest in a business with a wide moat. Lesson number 3. Once you have got your commercial cow that also has a wide moat, do nothing else. Just hold them for next decade. Lesson number 4. Stay within what you genuinely understand. Keep building your circle of competence. And finally, lesson number 5. Trust long-term progress of your country. Its economic tailwind. Never bet against the country's tailwind. If the country itself is not growing, its companies cannot. Buffett has made roughly one great decision every 5 years in his entire career. The rest of the time he was just reading, thinking, analyzing and waiting patiently. And that is the pace all of us can follow. I hope you like this video. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching.